back to the midnight edition of the Football Corner. I know you guys missed me. It's been a week, and hey, that was our first Sunday for football. That was pretty exciting. I'm pretty happy. I watched football all day. I do take Sundays off, no matter what's going on. You can't get me to do anything on a Sunday other than watch football. Um, yeah, we're back. I called this the midnight edition because it's basically midnight, and I'm doing this video. As you can see, it's pretty dark, and I'm in the garage. It's kind of cold. Nights are getting colder. I love fall, but it's getting real cold in here. I've just been busy, and I haven't been able to do a video, so I had to get it out before Thursday, and I'm not going to be able to do it during the day tomorrow, before the games, and I want to get it out before the Thursday night game, so I had to. Here I am. 12 o'clock at night, doing a video. Anyways, guys, I won 11-5 last week in picks. I'm pretty happy. Anytime I can go, in the positive for wins, I think that's a win right there in itself. Ultimately, the goal on this show is to correctly predict all games for that weekend, all of them, not get a single one wrong. That's going to be incredibly hard. But we have 16 weeks to do it. 15 now. I've got 15 more weeks to correctly predict the entire day and weekend, whatever. I'm excited. I'm excited. Let's just get right into it. So tomorrow or today, we have the Bengals and the Browns. This is really the first Thursday night. Well, technically, the Chiefs was the first Thursday night, but this is like the first Thursday night game, right? The Bengals and the Browns. No one wants to watch this. I don't want to watch it. The Browns looked absolutely terrible, and I understand it's the Ravens, but that was really bad. And the Bengals, honestly, Joe Burrow looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. I was a little upset with how Tyler Boyd did for me in fantasy, but the team actually played pretty well. So based on how the Bengals did and how the Browns did, I think Joe Burrow gets his first win tomorrow or today, right? He gets it. He's gonna get it. I think the Browns are honestly that bad. They're honestly that bad where you can't eat. I just can't. I just can't pick them. I just can't. Now we're moving over to Sunday. I'm probably going to end up watching this game because I'm in New York. It's going to be on TV. Jets versus the 49ers. The Jets are just absolutely terrible. I mean, they are terrible. They do not look good at all. Sam Darnold looks like a bust. This entire team is bad. They just lost Le'Veon Bell, who's not even good. So, you take a running back that's not even good, and now you just got worse for the next month. With Frank Gore, a 38-year-old running back who still has some juice left in the tank. But the 49ers are going to bounce back this week. I know Kittle's out. The receiver core is terrible. They just signed Mohamed Sanu. But they're going to come out of here with a victory. The Jets are just that bad. It's going to be just a cakewalk for the 49ers this weekend. I forgot to do points. So let's backtrack a little bit. Bengals and the Browns. Bengals are going to score 24. Browns are going to score 14. 49ers, Jets. Jets are going to score 10. And the 49ers are going to score 31. Bills, Dolphins. Another game I'm probably going to be able to watch. Bills, Dolphins at my grandma's house. We're probably not going to put the Jets game on now that I think about it if the Bills are playing. Yeah, Bills are going to take this. I like the Dolphins. I think that they're going to really progress throughout the season. Their defense is honestly not that bad. I like what they have in the secondary with Byron Jones, who I can't believe the Cowboys let go, and Xavier Howard. I think this team is pretty good. Even on offense, I like Devontae Parker. They have a lot of running backs who are pretty good. Jordan Howard, Matt Breida, Gaskins, I think his name is, the other guy. I think he had the most fantasy points out of all of them. this team isn't bad. And Ryan Fitzpatrick's, he's a GOAT. But the Bills, just seeing what they did last week, like there's a Bills jersey right there. They played really well. I watched the first half, the whole first half of the game. Josh Allen is really, really good, and just looking for him to progress. Those fumbles were crazy for him, and he does overthrow a little bit. So he's just got to clean those up, and they can become a super, super contender. But they're winning this division. I'm not going to stray from that. I'm not even concerned with the Patriots. Like, they're winning this division, and they're going to take this game too. It's going to be close though. Dolphins are going to try to put up a fight, 24-21, and we're moving on to the Jags Titans. Do you guys know how good Gardner Minshew is? Like, this guy literally had one incompletion last week. That's not even like. You look at this offense, you're like, how did you do that? You have DJ Chark, and like that's it. How did you end up doing that? How did you manage that, Gardner? The Titans, they're all right. It's hard to be super hard on everyone because of the first week, no preseason games, etc. But the Titans didn't look that great. Derrick Henry did go for over 100 yards, I believe. But like, it just wasn't dominant. And I thought they were going to lose to the Broncos. I really did. They ended up pulling it through. Their kicker is terrible. Crazy because it's, seeing who it is. But the Jags, I think, having the momentum that they just got, and Gardner literally had one incompletion, I think that the Jaguars, although it's going to be a fight for them to win this game, they are going to win it again. 2-0, Jaguars on top of the Titans, 28-24, Minshew mania. He is super good. I like what the Titans have. Didn't like their performance against the Broncos, and I think the momentum for the Jaguars right now, they're gonna take this divisional game. They took the last week divisional game. They're gonna take this divisional game as well. Moving on to the Panthers and Buccaneers, man, the Panthers, like, that was a crazy game for them to come back like that, score 30 points. They did lose a game. Robbie Anderson, crazy day. Maybe he's finally seeing some of his crazy potential, right? Because I know the Jets, they don't ever have players turn out good for them. The Buccaneers, everyone wants to ship Tom Brady to like retirement. He's bad and blah, blah, blah. He had some bad throws, but he made some crazy good throws as well. Crazy good is in terms of like, yeah, that's Tom Brady. I think the Bucs just, they needed. That was a tough team. That was a tough defense. The Saints are not an easy team to play against. I think that they rebound here, and they need to win these games. This is a divisional game. They need to win these games early. They already lost one last week. They need this game. They really do need this game. I think the leadership of Tom Brady is going to just bring this team up week 2. Again, no preseason game. So I think the Bucs week 2 are going to be a lot better than week 1. And they were pretty decent week 1. That's a tough team. That is not an easy team to play against. I'd say the Buccaneers are going to score 28 points here. And the Panthers are going to be right there with them, 21. It's just the Bucs are going to take this game. They're going to win. I like Teddy Bridgewater. But I don't know. They're going to win games. And I don't think they're a playoff team. But I don't know. Moving on. I'm really tired, so I need to get through this. And I don't think I'm gonna do a fantasy video this week. I don't really have time for it, and I'm gonna try to do it next Tuesday, which I'm gonna make time for it on Tuesday, before the waivers hit and everything like that on Wednesday. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the day. Some funny stories. Moving on with the picks, though. Rams-Eagles. Man, the Rams played a heck of a game. There's the Rams jersey. Good old Tavon Austin. They played a great game. And I honestly thought they were not going to win this game. But they came out there. The defense looked good. That's a tough Cowboys offense. and the defense, they did really good. They did really good. They probably shouldn't. The game should have went longer than it did. I don't know if the Cowboys even win. They got to score the touchdown or the field goal, goes to overtime, etc. That call at the end of the game, not a good call. I understand the push thing wasn't a great call, but regardless of that, the two teams played really well. The Rams did really well. I liked what they did on offense. Like, that was really good. Robert Woods is amazing. I like Cooper Kupp. Malcolm Brown, I'm sorry, Jared. I'm going to talk about that later. Malcolm Brown did really good. I liked what Cam Akers did. So this team, I think that they can be a contender for the playoffs down the line. In the Eagles, if anyone watched that game, I am just disappointed in the Eagles, and my confidence in the Eagles team just went to the ground, basically, because Carson Wentz, I think you're great, but they let up 8 sacks or something like that. You can't do that. And they're going to have a bad week against the Rams. I mean, that's Aaron Donald. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's kind of good. He's been in the league a few years, and he's kind of made a name for himself. I don't know if you know who that is. Yeah, I am hitting the panic button on the Eagles, and the Rams are going to take this 2-0. This is big for the Rams. Tough division to come up 2-0 in the start of the season. That's big. That's really big for them. They're going to win this game 35-17. Moving on to the Vikings-Colts. And the Colts are another team I'm just disappointed in. I cannot believe that they lost to the Jaguars. I'm shocked. The Vikings, on the other hand, are going to come in here after that crazy game against the Packers, where they scored 34 points. They're going to come in here and just brush the Colts right off. They're just going to go, whoop, whoop, you're done. You're done. You're not going to win this game, the Colts, right? The Vikings are going to take this, scoring another 30 points, and the Colts are going to score 21. That's not bad, 21 points. They're going to score points. They just are not going to win games. Moving on to Lions and the Packers. I can see it now. Dropping passes. Packers are going to win this game. 2-0. Packers are 2-0. I mean, I'm not surprised. Personally, I want to root for the Lions. It's like the Browns. I don't really want to root for the Browns that much because they are in our division. So I feel bad for the Browns. One of my good friends is a Browns fan, and I feel bad for him. I wish he was a Steelers fan, because that just would be so much better for him. He wouldn't have to see so much losing. But the Lions, I could actually say, I hope they're successful because they're not in my division. So they just never are. And it's kind of sad. And I love Matthew Stafford. I loved Calvin Johnson. So it's kind of sad. But this team's not going anywhere. They're just not going anywhere. And Matt Patricia, the head coach, is actually from our area. About 40 minutes. He lived in, he went to VVS. I don't know which town he lived in. So a lot of things I can root for the Lions, but they just aren't going to do it. And the Packers, well, they're good. Aaron Rodgers, he really shut up all the critics, including me, week 1. Packers take this 35-14. Moving on to the Falcons-Cowboys. Falcons, whoa. That offense is insane. All 3 of the top receivers on their team, I think Julio ended up with 17 points. Russell had 20, and then Calvin Ridley had 33. You killed me, Ridley. You killed me. That was crazy. And Todd Gurley had 13. Matt Ryan had 23. Outscored Patrick Mahomes week 1. It's windy. The Falcons' offense is really good. And Matt Ryan, 450 passing yards. This defense sucks, but the offense is really good. And the Chiefs showed that yes, you still need defense, but we can just outscore you and we'll win, right? So that template could work for the Falcons. They could be a playoff team down the run. This is a tough game. They had a tough game last week against the Seahawks. This is a tough week this week against the Cowboys. It's for me again. I think the Cowboys are going to win this. I want to root for the Falcons because they need these games, and so do the Cowboys. I think I'm a little bit more towards the Cowboys after that tough loss. They're probably really upset of how it ended. I think that they're going to carry that into next week and really take it out on the Falcons. I think the Cowboys are going to take this. They're going to take this 28-27. Close game. That'd be crazy, right? It's on at 1 p.m. Going over the Giants-Bears. Giants actually, this guy right here had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley. But anyways, the Giants played pretty well against the Steelers. They scored 16 points. That last touchdown we just let them have it. The last 4 minutes, garbage time. It's tough defense against the Steelers, but I liked what they had on offense, and I think their defense played pretty well. I was really shocked. Bradbury, I think, is a steal. Martinez, I've been saying this, is a steal. Great tackler. And they're without, obviously, DeAndre Baker's cut, so that was a big loss for them. And then their safety, McKinney, out for, I think, until November. That's a big blow as well. But they made it work, and this team is actually pretty good. And with the football team winning, you know which one I'm talking about. And they're the leaders of the division, the only team in that division to win. The Cowboys lost week 1. The Eagles look like terrible garbage, and I don't think they're winning that week. The Giants could, I know I'm crazy, but they could sneak and win this division. I'm saying it now. I'm just putting it out there in the universe, putting it out in the universe. One of my actor teachers like to say that they could win this division. It's gonna be a tough opponent against the Bears week 1. Mitchell Trubisky, I don't know, maybe he's playing good now. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They came back, 6-23 to win the game, 26-23. That's pretty good. That's a Bears team that's playing pretty well. I want the Giants to win this week in that game. I do. I feel bad for all my Giants friends. We had to give you an L. I apologize. Steelers are more important than the Giants for me. But I think the Bears are going to win this game. I honestly, just looking at the team and how they played last week, Mitchell Trubisky played really well. Another tough defense for the Giants to go against, Khalil Mack. Bears are going to win this 24-21. Moving on to the football team. You know which one I'm talking about. Against the Cardinals. They got lucky last week playing that team. They came back from behind. They won. Dwayne Haskins looked all right, sort of. Terry McCullough didn't get enough fantasy points for me. A little upset. And the running backs are a little, Peyton Barber had 2 touchdowns, 22 yards, I think on like 10 carries. Cardinals win this game. They did really well. I didn't think they were going to win that game last week. They won it, surprisingly. They need to win these games if they want to win the division, which I didn't think they were a playoff contender. But now if they get up 2-0 in this division, Rams, for me, would be 2-0. The Seahawks, who are they playing? They're playing the Patriots. I think they're going to win, so they'll be 2-0. And I think that the 49ers are going to win this week, so they'll be 1-1. Yeah, it's just, you got to win these games, and they're going to walk right over the football team. You know which one I'm talking about. They're going to walk right over them. DeAndre Hopkins played really well. Kyler Murray's 100 rushing yards. So, yeah, they're gonna beat the football team. You know which one I'm talking about. We're going over to the Chiefs. Peep the Chiefs jersey against the Chargers. Chargers surprisingly won last week. Again, I was a little surprised in that one. Yeah, the Chiefs. Probably 100-0, be my guess. Maybe like a point or 2 less. I don't know. They'll probably score 40 points. Who knows? The Chargers defense isn't that good. It is good, but it's not. Yeah, I don't know, 43 to 20. All right, moving on. Moving on. Ravens, Texans. Man, I feel bad for the Texans. Deshaun Watson has to do everything. Brandon Cooks didn't have a good enough week. Will Fuller had a great week. Randall Cobb, I don't know, maybe a catch. I can't even remember how many times he got targeted, but he doesn't look to be effective. But David Johnson had a good game, 19 points in fantasy. Ravens are winning this game though. It sucks for the Texans to go down 0-2 in the beginning of the season. Not a good place you want to be. But they just, I don't think they're going to beat the Ravens. I mean, maybe they're playing with a chip on their shoulder this week, but it's the Ravens. Lamar Jackson. I don't think that they're going to win. Ravens probably scored 34 points this week. Texans put up a fight, 27. Moving on to the Sunday night game, the Patriots versus the Seahawks. This is another one. I root for the Giants a lot because my cousin's a Giants fan, and I root for the Seahawks a lot because my cousin's a Seahawks fan. Brothers. One's a Giants fan, one's a Seahawks fan. I don't know why the Giants fan chose the Giants, and his brother was smart, got a good team. But they've both seen him win Super Bowls. So I've seen the Steelers win one Super Bowl. So I guess they're doing all right. But unbiased, although I do like the Seahawks, I always root for them. They're going to go in there and win this game. They played amazing last week. Russell Wilson, 4 touchdowns, right? The Patriots played pretty well. Cam Newton played pretty well. The Dolphins is kind of a good defense. It is the Dolphins, but it's kind of good. Like I said, I like Byron Jones, I like Xavier Howard, etc. So they are pretty good. Everyone's like, oh, pump the brakes. It was the Dolphins. Don't pump the brakes. Maybe gently press them. It's going to be a tough game, but the Seahawks are going to win this game. They're going to go up 2-0. They're going to put up big numbers again. Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf. Oh, he looks so good. That play on 4th down, wow. Russell, dangerous, right? Amazing. If he continues to have this, my cousin said that he was going to get 43 touchdowns this year. If he does that, MVP. I know there's seasons that he should have won it, didn't win it. If he plays like this the rest of the year, he's winning MVP. 35-24. Moving on to Monday night, Saints Raiders. Raiders played surprisingly well. I was surprised they put up 34 points. Darren Waller didn't have the best week, only 44 yards, 42 yards. But the Raiders against the Saints, this is the opening of that stadium. Are the Saints going to go in there and beat the? Yeah, they're going to. Yeah, I think the Saints are going 2-0. Raiders fall to 1-1. Saints are going to take this. They're going to put up 35 points as well. The Raiders are going to put up 28 points. They're going to score a lot of points, I think. This is a team, and you saw Josh Jacobs. Well, jeez, I would hate to play him in fantasy. Yeah, this Raiders team's pretty good. I'm actually excited to watch them. Kind of just progress because this is not how I thought the Raiders season was going to go. But I'm taking the Saints, like I said, 35, Raiders 28. And that's it for week 2 picks. Last week I went 11-5. This week I hope to beat that. Hope to get it all perfect. That would be great. But that's it. That's all I got. I'm going to talk about fantasy for a second here in this video, which usually they're going to get 2 separate videos. So the thing I wanted to talk about is my cousin Jared, the Giants fan. We were at my grandma's for Sunday dinner, right? And we're watching the games, and he's like, yeah, I'm starting Malcolm Brown. I'm like, Malcolm Brown? Like, I'm all on Cam Akers, and I have him on my team. I actually had to start him in a couple leagues. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's not going to have, any points. I bet you Darnell Henderson is going to have more points than him. Like, Malcolm Brown? So I talked him in, and he has it's a PPR league. He has Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Green. So he drafted a lot of receivers, and then he ended up like Miles Sanders. I don't even know who his other running backs are. I know Malcolm Brown, Latavius Murray. Uh, so yeah, I talked him into starting Latavius Murray over Malcolm Brown. I mean, I didn't say like, hey, start Latavius. I'm like, oh, they both suck. But I did bring up the whole thing, and it is my fault that he started Malcolm Brown or didn't start Malcolm Brown and started Latavius Murray. And he was getting blown out early to a guy who was new to our league, good friend named Zach. He was blowing him out, right? And so it didn't look like he was going to win. But then by the end of the night, Jared had gotten to 120 points. And we were watching the game of the Rams, and Zach was up to 144, I think, 44. And it had gotten up. Zach was all done for the day. He had Evan Ingram playing on Monday, and then Jared had Malcolm Brown and Juju Smith. Or no. He didn't have Malcolm Brown starting. My bad. He had Juju Smith-Schuster left, and Malcolm Brown was on the bench. We're watching it together, the Sunday night game against the Rams, and Malcolm Brown's like scoring touchdowns. I'm like, oh! I'm like, Jared, I'm so sorry. He ended up scoring 24 points, right? 25 points. He would have just with that, he would have beaten Zach, right? If he had just started Malcolm Brown over Latavius, and it wouldn't even worry. Well, then it would have been up to Evan Ingram and Juju. But it would have been, he would have already be beating him, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Like, I can't believe it. Like, that's my fault. That's my bad. Like, I totally crapped on Malcolm Brown. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my God. I'm thinking of Odell now. But anyways, um, so I felt so bad, right? I'm like, I can't believe I did this to you, And so whatever. He leaves the next day, and I'm like, Juju could pull it off. I didn't think it was gonna happen. Wouldn't you know? Evan Ingram has a terrible game, 3 points, right? And Juju has like 25 or more, right? Wins the freaking game. Come from behind victory. I could not believe it. I mean, he was down 20 points with one player versus one player. I'm like, no way you're going to pull this off. I just don't think it's going to happen. And he pulled it off. So, although I gave him terrible advice, and I wish he had not listened to me, he ended up winning, and Zach lost. So that was a crazy. It's going to go down in history. It's one of those things that we're just never going to stop talking about, I don't think. Some of those other things in the same league, we had a friend who drafted Kirk Cousins 6th overall. Yeah, like the 6th pick. Yeah, he drafted Kirk Cousins. We were all together doing it online, not like picking and putting it on a board. So it was online, and we were all sitting in the room like, you did not just pick Kirk Cousins. He's like, yeah, I had him as quarterback last year. What's the problem? Like, he doesn't understand fantasy, I guess, whatever. So we don't let that go. And his twin brother drafted Tom Brady, the first quarterback off the draft the year before in like the 3rd round, and we dogged on him for that, thinking like, oh, that's so stupid. Like, you could have picked Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, etc. But then his brother topped it with Kirk Cousins. Crazy. Yeah, that was a big thing for fantasy. Couple guys I think you should definitely get rid of. Le'Veon Bell, get rid of that guy. Don't touch him. James Conner, trade him if you can. Those two guys, just don't have them. Try to trade any Browns receiver you have, Odell, Jarvis, while they're still valuable, I guess. I don't think they're going to have big seasons. Robbie Anderson, I think you definitely pick him up. Sammy Watkins, I don't like because he did this last year, right? 3 touchdowns in the first week, 182 yards, and just totally crapped the rest of the season. Odell. Why do I always think of Odell? If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Let's see. Stay away from like Russell Gage. I told my friend this. I always say don't ever try to chase points. All right, if a fantasy player got something last week, don't expect him to get that this week unless the situation makes sense. And in Russell Gage's circumstances, it doesn't make sense to like he dropped Odell Beckham. I told him don't do that. If you want to trade him, but do not drop him. He dropped him for Russell Gage because Russell Gage was ranked 11th and Odell was ranked 77th, right? So he dropped him. I told him not to do that. Did it anyways. Whatever. Don't chase the points. It doesn't make sense for Russell Gage as the third receiver on the Falcons to do that again. They had a huge week, 450 yards passing. That doesn't happen every week, and it won't happen every week. Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones are going to see majority of the field in catches. I think he had 12 targets for 9 catches, and so did Calvin Ridley, and so did Julio Jones. I think they were literally the same in terms of targets and catches. But you're not going to see the same thing every week. And you have to be careful with the people that are already free agents. Sammy Watkins would be a guy I'm like, don't chase the points. You pick him up, you start him, and he poops. Like Russell Gage gets 4 points next week or something like that. 5 points, 6 points. And Sammy Watkins gets like 5, 6 points. But you started him because he had 20 points last week. You're chasing the points that they had last week to then start him. And sometimes you do that within your team. Like, I didn't start Darius Slayton last week. 28 points. He's going to be starting this week. The matchup doesn't make a ton of sense, but neither did the Steelers matchup, and I think he did really well. Obviously, I watched that game from start to finish. Didn't miss a second. I just liked Darius Slayton. I was high on him coming into the season. I'm still high on him, and I'm going to start him. And Tyler Boyd had a terrible week last week. But you can't chase people's points. And if Darius Slayton doesn't do anything this week, and that would be me chasing points, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's how fantasy goes. And I do. That's how you win in fantasy, is to stay on top of the points and picking up people that get hot, dropping people or trading them when they get cold, and following the trend. If you follow a trend, you'll probably be all right in fantasy. Last year in 2 leagues, I started 2 and 6. Done, right? You're done. I ended up going to the championship and losing in 1 league, and then I made it through the playoffs in 1. I can't remember if I won a game or I didn't win a game, but I won out the season. I went 7 and 6, made the playoffs in both. You just don't know with fantasy what's going to happen. It's just kind of a crapshoot. And like with Malcolm Brown, I say like don't start blah blah blah, and he has a 24-point game. I don't know if he's going to repeat that, but I think that it's a high expectation that until Cam Akers gets more traction, Malcolm Brown might be the guy. You just never know, though. And that's why if I am right in fantasy and I told you to do it or I gave you advice to do it or whatever, give me a thumbs up, say I'm the greatest, etc., blah, blah, blah. But if I give you advice and it doesn't pan out, no, I didn't. I didn't give you advice, all right? But that's all I got. I hope to do maybe a little bit more on fantasy breakdown next week. This is the video that is the only video that's gonna happen this week. The picks, a little bit of fantasy talk, a little story time. And next week I'm gonna do the fantasy video and a separate picks video. Game picks. And with that, I leave you guys. And I hope that you guys win your fantasy matchups. Unless I'm playing you. I hope you lose. I really do. Until next week, this is the Football Corner. Always doing our podcast from a corner. I'm not sponsored by Stewart's yet, so hopefully that happens. I messaged them, sent them emails, and believe it or not, guys, in acting or whatever, the best thing that you can do to get a job is just to ask. Some people are like, don't ask because you don't want to be not verbal. Everyone has their different opinions. I think if you don't do it, you're never going to get it. So I sent an email to Stewart's and I said, hey, whatever. I'm not going to go into everything there. But ultimately I said, hey, you know what? I'm a big fan of Stewart's. I spend like probably $1,000 in coffee almost every year, right? Sponsor me. That's all I ask. Sponsor me. Free advertisement. Well, it's not free. I hope, because then I can pay and get a new camera because this one's really bad. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to bed, take a shower, go lay down with my dog Mason. Even though I'm allergic, probably break out in hives. Small price to pay for salvation. I'll see you guys next week.